Welcome to All American Garage. Today we're going to be working on the truck. It's a 2014 Ram 3500. Today we're going to be putting a steering stabilizer on it and front and rear diff covers. The truck is getting a bunch of other maintenance. We're pretty much going completely from scratch on it. The truck currently has right around 150,000 miles on it. So we're going to start from scratch because I bought it about 6 months ago. Haven't done any services on it. I like to start from scratch whenever I buy a used vehicle, especially with that kind of mileage. I like to kind of baseline it so we know oil's been changed, all the fluids have been swapped, it has fresh filters in it, everything's scratch. So then I can start regular maintenance intervals and go from there. So everything from brake fluids getting changed, proper steering fluid, oil, we're going to bleed the brakes, it's getting everything. But today, to start out, we're going to go with steering stabilizer. This came from Thuren Fabrications. They work with King Off-Road on this one. So this here is actually a King steering stabilizer. It's been tuned by Thuren for their suspension setup. So this truck has a 2.5-inch front lift on it, just to level it out. It's got Bilsteins all the way around, and with that Thuren kit comes a track bar and a set of soft ride coils. Truck ride's really good right now. We're just going to go ahead and complete the service though and put the steering dampener on there. So this here is your Thuren King steering dampener. So when you install this shaft end here, this portion is going to go towards the passenger side of the vehicle or the tie rod. So the outer, closer to the wheel. The body here is going to mount to the axle. Tools you're going to need for this is 18mm socket, ratchet, and an 18mm wrench, or in this case I'm going to use another 18mm socket with a breaker bar because I don't have an 18mm wrench with me right now. Then you're also going to need a torque wrench. That'll go up to at least 75 foot-pounds. 75 foot-pounds is the torque spec for this steering dampener. So I'm going to start by cutting these zip ties here. Get this prepped for install. And now I will turn the wheels on the truck, make sure they're perfectly straight, so that way everything's aligned whenever we go to put the steering dampener in. I'm going to go ahead and transition over to the truck, and I'll show you the procedure to take off the one on the vehicle. So right now we're looking at the passenger side of the vehicle. This is going to be your tie rod side. So if you look right here, this is the factory steering dampener. Mine has a undercoat on it, so it might look a little different than yours. That bolt right here is the one that needs to come out, and then right here is your axle mount side. So you'll see the axle here. There's a bracket on the front side of the axle, and then straight down steering stabilizer with a bolt and nut right here. So those are what needs to come out. Try to get you set up here so you can see a couple of different views. All right, so a side-by-side comparison, the King stabilizer is actually a little bit longer than the factory. That's okay. So we're going to mount the shaft in on the passenger side of the vehicle first, and we'll try to compress it a little bit and get the body of the stabilizer in on the axle side. All right, so what we had to do, let's go ahead and input the shaft side into the tie rod. And then I came over here, aligned the body side with the axle, and compressed it slightly. It really wasn't that hard to compress. And you slide that bolt in, go ahead and thread your nut, you're good to go. All right, so now we're gonna get the torque wrench, torque it down, make sure it's down to spec. All right, 75 foot-pounds is what we're going for here. $75. Check this other end. $75. All right, so quick recap. Most we did is remove the factory steering stabilizer, replace it with Thuren King steering stabilizer. Super easy job, took me like 15 minutes total. All you need, torque wrench, 75 foot-pounds, an 18mm socket, and a breaker bar or a ratchet. Either one will work. I use the breaker bar because you can't really get under there real well with a ratchet anyway, and my nuts were rusted on just a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to get them off with the breaker bar. Pretty easy job, quick, simple. Just make sure you torque them down to 75 foot-pounds. It's critical. Yep, and that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, like, subscribe. I appreciate y'all.